Hi, welcome back, everybody. Well, we just had a conversation with the daughter of Chris Hani, and I must say it was quite an interesting insight into the life of the Hanis post this assassination. And that assassination we're talking about is 24th anniversary, that is today, since the assassination of the SACP leader Chris Hani. This all happened at his home in Boksburg. A wreath-laying ceremony is scheduled to take place at the Thomas Nkobi Memorial Park. It's happening later on this morning. It'll be followed by a memorial lecture on Hani at the Boksburg Civic Centre. Well, covering the story for us, we've got SABC News reporter Chriselda, who is at the Memorial Park. Chriselda, very good morning to you. Talk to us about some of the events we can expect today and, of course, the issues leading into this particular memorial.
Well, Ian, yes, today marks the 24th anniversary since the struggle stalwart Chris Hani was assassinated outside his Boksburg home here in Dawn Park. And of course, on this very day back in 1993, that's when he was gunned down outside his home, and we're expecting President Jacob Zuma to lead a wreath-laying ceremony here at the Thomas Nkobi Cemetery. We're also expecting the South African Communist Party to also deliver a commemorative speech. Recall, of course, that Chris Hani was once the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party. So in addition to the commemorative event here today, what we do also know is that a memorial lecture will also be delivered by the Finance Minister Malusi Gigaba a bit later on in this particular area later this evening. But of course, I think what we're certainly looking to at this point is whether there will be any visible tensions, of course, between the South African Communist Party and President Jacob Zuma. We know that the SACP has deployed its second Deputy General Secretary, Solly Mabaila, to come and give this commemorative speech. Know that, of course, that the SACP has also, been in the front line leading the cause for President Jacob Zuma to resign last week. We also saw them participate in the People's March, which was held in Pretoria, reiterating their call for President Jacob Zuma to resign. So certainly, I think what all the media is watching for at this place is that whether there will be those visible tensions between the South African Communist Party and President Jacob Zuma. We're not expecting the SACP to hold back at all, because they've been adamant since that call, calling on President Jacob Zuma to resign. I think certainly in that commemorative speech, they will certainly touch on whether Chris Hani would be proud of the ANC and the country, given the current tensions and, the instances that we've seen at this point, the disunity that was displayed. And I think of particular concern at this point, I must make reference, of course, to the memorial service of another late icon, Ahmed Kathrada, which was held in eThekwini yesterday, where we saw these factional battles very publicly display themselves. So whether that will take place here during this commemorative event for Chris Hani, where you're seeing now President Jacob Zuma sharing a podium with the South African Communist Party, whether the SACP will use this platform also to reiterate its call for President Jacob Zuma to resign. And it's certainly what President Jacob Zuma will say in his speech. We're also expecting him, to focus quite a lot on, the ideals that Chris Hani had fought for, and not necessarily touch on, some of the issues that we've seen coming from the South African Communist Party on calls for him to resign. So certainly, I think many are watching at this point. There's been much condemnation for ANC leaders who've been using various platforms, including the memorial service of the late struggle icon Ahmed Kathrada, to deal with some of, the dissent within the African National Congress and some of the challenges that the country is experiencing at this point. So it certainly remains to be seen at this point whether those tensions between the president and the South African Communist Party will be visible here this morning.
All right, Chriselda, we'll leave it there for now. We'll cross back to her again just to get an update and to find out how things are going. Let's take a break. We'll see you after this. Do stay tuned.